Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Reach for the Collector channel check. I'm your host, Donte, along with my best friend, my co-host, and the person that's going to argue with me about how great Street Fighter is, Jay. How you doing today, buddy?
Sup? Why? Why you want to start this fight like right off? Like who starts a conversation like that? Let's just fist fight, you know?
It might come to blows about this subject we're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about made for TV and movies adaptations, as in some examples are video games adaptations, maybe book adaptations. Basically, when there's a source and somebody in Hollywood says, "Hey, that's popular, let's make it a movie or to a TV show," and then completely ruins it. What are your thoughts on that, Jay?
It doesn't always ruin it. Some of them turn out pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like hit or miss, man.
It is very hit or miss. I mean, you're taking a beloved IP and you're trying to adapt it for mass consumption.
And I know you don't, and I get like they don't want to redo, like go too deep in the backstory. Like they want to make it, light enough for people to be like, oh, okay, I understand the motivation of this character. But it's like sometimes you need to go with the story that we already have. Like,
I mean, granted, I can understand trying to shortening it or whatnot, but like the framework's there. If you've got good writers, I feel like it's kind of hard to fuck it up, you know?
I don't even know if you need, like, do you feel like, do we even need a backstory for most of them? Like, for our characters, like, we get on screen, we see John Spartan, but, like, do we really need to know about his childhood? Or do we just know that, hey, he's dropping in and he's just going to just murk everything in the universe?
He's mean, he's green, he's here to fuck shit up.
Like, do we really need, like, how his childhood, I mean, if you do it in TV form, yeah, but even then, you're like swayed far from the source material.
Yeah, and I feel like this has kind of been a touchy subject for us over the years, especially during the time of the show, because every time they come out with something, there's never an in between. There's never it's all right. It's either fucking shit or it's really good. There's no in between.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what started all of this, what just got us on this subject, was the hit movie, or rephrase that hit of a bomb of a movie, Borderlands.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Dante has gone and seen it. I have not.
No, it is, man, I'm just going to tell you, that movie's bad. Like, okay, so the movie's bad.
So on a scale of, let's see, what's a really good adaptation?
Gran Turismo.
All right, so on a scale of Dragon Ball to Gran Turismo, where are we at?
Near Dragon Ball, if not sitting at the same level as Dragon Ball.
Ooh.
Like, this movie is bad, dude. Like, the thing about the Dragon Ball movie, you had Goku, you had Bulma, you had a Piccolo,
yeah,
you had a Master Roshi who ended up getting killed. You had core characters, which you kind of they tried to
kill off Master Roshi though. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they kill him off like at the very beginning. Like
I know it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, so you had the characters. You at least had a world. But even though you put him in high school, you put Goku in high school. Like,
yeah, because that's where the story in all the variants of Dragon Ball started, was Goku in high school.
You know what? I'm going to have to rephrase it that Dragon Ball is still the worst, because at least Borderlands, they had the right location and, kind of the right setting. You're on a desolate planet, just overran by, marauders and psychos, and
it's kind of hard to fuck that up.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, everybody's trying to find a vault, open a vault because of the untold riches that they've been promised.
Like, even if you've never played any of the Borderlands games, like, you just perfectly described it. You've got vault hunters, main characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking for a vault. Vault has treasure. Lots of bad guys between main characters and vault. Pretty simple formula.
Yep. So I went with a person who has no inkling, has no idea of the whole series, anything about Borderlands. They don't know anything about the games, books, the tales from Borderlands. They know nothing about it. They're like, hey, it's a movie called Borderland, starring Kevin Hart and what's her name, Jamie Lee Curtis, and oh, I can't remember her name. It's gonna. I gotta look it up. Anyway, so I want to say it's not Catherine. Is it Catherine?
Didn't we get interns for this?
Can't afford our interns.
Interns don't get paid.
What? They lied to me. All right, so Kate Blanchett.
Blanchett, buddy.
I said Blanchett, yeah. Blanchett. Kate Blanchett. So
you got Ariana Greenblatt, Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, some of the Bobby Lee's in it?
Yes. Yeah. And
Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Haley Bennett. Yeah. That seems like
so she was supposed to be Ryan, and so apparently Ryan Redmond was supposed to be Ellie, which is a whole nother thing. And Jack Black is a Claptrap. So
well, yeah.
So they just knew. So the person with me, they knew that, hey, I just know these famous people are in this movie. That's all they knew. All right. We also say that the marketing was kind of, just very last minute. Like, oh, hey, yeah, the Borderland movie is coming out on Friday. You should go see it. So the movie is just, you take your core characters and you just completely rewrite their backstory. And then you throw them on a planet and it said, yeah, they're looking for a vault. And that's it. It's supposed to be like a buddy movie for them looking for a vault.
But they're not buddies. I mean, they eventually become buddies, but they don't start off as buddies.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely not buddies. Like, they're trying to kill each other until, Atlas shows up and then tries to kill them. And then it's one of those, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they're trying to kill you too, and they're trying to kill me. Hey, let's just all run together type deal.
Let's kill them before they kill us. Like, it's not hard. So where did it fuck up? Where did it go wrong?
So, all right. You start off with Tiny Tina, right?
Okay.
Tiny Tina's being rescued by Roland, and they escape down to Pandora. And Lilith is a bounty hunter who gets the job from Atlas to go find Tiny Tina. Krieg is one of the prisoners that broke out with Tiny Tina and saved her life. Well, he just massacred a whole bunch of Atlas soldiers. So they're like, "Hey, you're riding with us." So he's like, "Okay," and he jumps in the little space shuttle and disappears with them. So now they're on Pandora. And, they show how the world is like a big, vast desert. Like, it's just Rocky Mountain. Like, it's a big, vast world, okay? But
Pandora had more than just desert and rocks.
Not according to this movie. So now, if you, a person who's a fan of Borderlands, you're like, all right, we're in Pandora. Okay, what Easter eggs are we gonna get? Like, what are we gonna see? What are we gonna get? You get introduced to Marcus. Marcus is driving the bus for the Vault Hunters.
Okay.
On this bus, they do one small thing and have the Marcus's vending machine, like an image of his vending machine, like the hologram part,
right,
on the section, and that's it. Like that's the only reference you get to Marcus being a gun salesman. And then they go and they repeat the phrase "catch a ride." Now you can even be nice enough to a fan, to the fans, be like, "Hey, I know you like this game. Let me throw you this little Easter egg. Let me throw you this little, fan service. Let me hit you with a catch a ride."
Catch a ride.
Be like, "Ah, stop!" So we could be like, "Oh man, they did that part. They did that part." So they get to the planet. Lilith goes to try to find Tiny Tina. Lilith has Claptrap saying, "Yeah, I'm programmed to follow you everywhere you go."
How was Claptrap? Because
annoying.
It's Jack Black.
He was annoying. Like I would give
even
him,
in the game he's annoying.
Yeah, so that's why I give him that. Claptrap was annoying. Like you wish for Lilith's death, but he was a funny companion to have around. Even though he was annoying, I was like, at least they got that part right. He was completely annoying.
I mean, he was always comedic relief. I mean, they did have him do the serious stuff on occasion, very rare occasion.
Yeah.
But that was kind of his thing, is he was kind of comic relief.
Yeah. And I give him that. I give him Jack Black did that part right. He was annoying. He was like, I just want to shoot you. But, he's spitting out bullets and you're like, oh, I can't get rid of this guy, But then at the end, you're like, hey, Claptrap, go do this. Oh, I can totally hack that. So Claptrap was decent. But, Lilith being a bounty hunter, she's looking for Tiny Tina. Tiny Tina finds out that she's a science experiment, not a human, born by two humans. She's a science experiment. She was created in a lab by Atlas, and she's been told that she's the key to open up Pandora's box, the vault. So now Roland is trying to take her to the vault so she can open up the vault. Krieg only says couple of random things. That's it. And then the meat and potatoes of really.
See, here's the thing, and from what you've told me about it, and I immediately had thoughts on how to make the movie better. In the original game, when Krieg was introduced, he is a psycho. He doesn't say anything that makes sense. But then you get this inner monologue that is sane. So outer Krieg is insane, inner Krieg is sane. So why didn't they just have Krieg do like narration? Have his inner monologue doing like the sensible narration.
You would
giving
think that.
Backstory.
Yeah. That would make sense though. If you knew the material, that would make sense to do something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Like for us fans to be like, oh man, that's pretty awesome. And maybe a random person who's actually sitting there going, okay, all right. Okay, so we got a narrator to, move us along about how everything's going. No, our narrator was Lilith. It was Cate Blanchett. And all she did was complain about, she hates being on Pandora. So, but the biggest selling thing about Borderlands is the guns. It's the
That's kind of their whole thing is guns, more guns, lots of guns. And oh, hey, in case we forgot, here's some guns.
Right? Like everything is like about guns. Like you literally open up a toilet, there's a gun and there's some ammo. You open a refrigerator, there's guns and ammo. They couldn't even do Easter eggs like that. They couldn't just put a random gun somewhere and they're like, oh hey, I found a gun. Like you spent this money on some CGI creatures, and I'm sitting here going, you couldn't CGI a gun? Like you just couldn't sit there and say, hey, I got this, screaming, SMG, or I got a pistol that shoots out rockets, or I'm done with this assault rifle and I throw it and it explodes. Like that would really irk me, was the fact that you had so many guns. Borderlands is known for it. You didn't do none of that in the movie. And then you have so many, fictional companies in Borderlands. You displayed them at the very beginning, like within like the first 3 minutes of the movie, and never heard of them again. All you heard was Atlas. You barely heard about Hyperion. There was no Mr. Torg.
Jacobs.
Nope. No Torg, no Jacobs, no none of that. Like, not even like talk about shields, nothing. Like, it was for a fan, it's a bad movie. And then for regular people, it made no sense. It was a boring
Because you went
movie.
with someone, right?
You're right. And it makes it even worse is there was only 4 people in the theater. I saw this on opening Saturday night, opening weekend. Saturday night, 7 p.m. 4 people in this theater.
Wow.
And the other 2 were like, yeah, it was bad opening. Yeah, the other 2 people in the theater was a little older, you know. They left halfway in. They left like within like 15, 20 minutes. They're like, this movie sucks.
Are you talking about like people our age?
No, I want to say maybe like their 50s, 60s, maybe. Like, you know, they were having a little date night and they're like, oh, let's go see a movie. And they go in because, like, again, you have Kevin Hart. You know, oh, that's a famous person. Oh, hey, Kate Blanchett, that's a famous person.
That's a pretty big name. Yeah. Kevin Hart, you know, Kate Blanchett, Jack Black. Jamie Lee Curtis.
These are some big names. So it's like, oh, I wonder if this movie's good. And, you know, they're sitting there for like 15, 20 minutes and they go, I'm leaving. This movie is terrible. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I have to break this down to you. Each ticket was $12. So the fact that this man and this woman looked at this and said, hey, the $25 I spent, you know, for the 2 tickets plus tax and whatever, they had some popcorn and stuff. So that was about $30-$40. They sat there and said, this is not worth it. I am leaving. That's how bad that movie was.
That's pretty bad. So what did the person you went with say about it?
She said it was terrible. She's like, the movie was just boring. It made no sense. I don't like it. So if you want to know how bad it is, it's coming to streaming services pretty soon. Like, I think it dropped this weekend on August 30th.
On what?
Prime, Apple TV.
Apple TV.
You know, for rent and purchase. So if you want to watch it, which also means that, you know, since it's on Prime and Apple TV, that means it's, you know, it's a release, like a digital release, which means that the high seas version is going to be a nice and clear copy.
Yeah, I feel like it won't be very hard to find.
Yeah. And so my question is HBO even going to put that on their service? Is the Max going to be like, nah, we good? Like, please, can you put it on? Can you premiere it on Max? Nah, we're going to pass.
We thought about it and we decided not to.
But that would started off this whole thing is just Borderlands was you know, in the gaming world has a lot of funny stuff, a lot of details, a lot of great lore and story that you were like, dude, I want to see this on screen. And then you go see what the Hollywood did to it, and you're like, this is terrible. And that's why I sit there and say, this is about as bad as Dragon Ball.
Because, and I had really high hopes too, because there's been a lot of really good ones that have come out. Sonic the Hedgehog, Fallout, Arcane. Like, I don't even know anything about League of Legends. I've never played League of Legends. Arcane was good.
And there it is, man. Like, how do we get these adaptations of just great stories that, you know, those who in the hobby field be like, oh, these are great, and then you just get like, I'm just gonna take my own spin on this. Tiny Tina, she's not.
Like a Twisted Metal, completely batshit crazy storyline, right? Makes almost no fucking sense, yet made a TV show out of it, and it's good.
And that's what makes it even better, because Twisted Metal is literally a car combat. It's about, you know, cars going into these, you know, these drivers going into this arena and killing each other just, you know, to get a wish, you know, get a wish granted.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? We can make something lead up to that. Now, I'm really curious of how they're going to do season 2, because I'm like, you know, you just built this whole world outside the, you know, the arena. Now it's like, okay, now we're going to the arena part, or, you know, as Giga like to say, tournament arc.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, how are we going to do this now? You know, I want to know, what are we doing, you know? I'm interested.
Then you get, and I'm sure we've talked about it already, but it still hurts my fucking soul. Halo.
Dude. Oh, this show is just...
It's so bad.
It's bad, man. It's like, come on. It's like you have so much. Dude, you want to do Halo, make it a war movie or a TV show. You know?
I mean, and the thing is there's tons of material. You've got the games. You've already got animated short films. You've got books. There's so much lore, so much material, so much that you could go off of, and you decide to do your own thing and make it suck.
With the main characters of all people. Like if you would sit there and say, all right, we're gonna spin off another Spartan and go like that, it was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be disappointed, but at least anything you do with this new Spartan, it's an adventure for them, like red versus blue. We get introduced, our lovable idiots from in Blood Coach.
They did their own thing, but they made it their own thing. And then, they didn't involve Master Chief. They didn't involve like a bunch of the other stuff. They were like, hey, it's loosely based on that, and we're using the game itself to make this.
Then ODST.
ODST was pure gold.
You could have made a whole series off of that.
Yep. You could have even done a series off of like Noble Team in the early years, before the cybernetic enhancements, before the Mjolnir armor, when they were just Wet Works Black Ops, going around on Meteor, which they kind of went to one in the show, but it was lame. And then it's like a meteor that's also a mining colony, and they were like often dictators, or they kidnapped a dictator. It was pretty awesome.
Like,
well, that was from the books. I mean,
like I would also mention, is it 4 or 5? 4 when he had that one Spartan trying to hunt down John.
That was.
Was it 4? 5?
Spartan Locke. Yeah, because he was kind of shite.
Yeah, he could have made a series off of him, like, oh, I gotta hunt down, Master Chief.
Well, it's because he was an ONI operative beforehand.
Right, so, like, you could have had him, you could have made a story about him and had the president of Master Chief looming in the background at all time. Like what they did with Gotham, we always had Batman looming in the background at all time with all the characters.
Or Alfred, that series, standalone, just about Alfred Pennyworth. Loved it.
Yeah. So it's like, how do we, just
listen? They won the writer's strike. That means they get more money. We should get better writing.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I blame it on the studios too. I lay some of it on the studios because, like you say, you want to mass market or something, and you're like, oh, they're not going to understand this. But I need writers and directors to stand up and be like, look. Even the creators, like I need like the creator of the work to be like, hey, these are cores. Yeah. We're gonna keep this. Like
here's these are immovable objects. These are canon. This does not change no matter what.
Right, and you can play with these characters, but these 4 or 5 characters are core. Got to keep it this way. If not, like what they did with Super Mario, the Super Mario Brothers movie, like the newest one. Like Nintendo got in. I was just about to
ask, the original or the new one?
Yeah, like Nintendo got involved. And they're like, "Hey, here's our rules. This is what we want."
Yeah, because we saw what happened when Nintendo did not have a hand in the project.
Hey, the first Super Mario Brothers was fun, dude. Even as a kid, I watched that. And I was like, I was sitting there like. I'm a kid when I watched this movie because it came out in like 93. And I'm like, This has nothing to do with the Ninja Turtle, not Ninja Turtle, with the Mario Brothers.
I was gonna say, where did Ninja Turtles come from?
I could only think of freaking Bowser when he transformed. Was it Dustin Hoffman?
Koopas.
Yeah, the Koopas and stuff. Like, yeah. Like,
God.
That stuff.
I mean, then you got some, though, that are so cheesy they're good, like the OG Super Mario. Tomb Raider. I'm going to put Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie firmly in that cheesy but good segment.
Yeah, I did like that. Yeah, I did like that.
Street Fighter was trash, though.
Street Fighter was amazing, dude.
Street Fighter was not amazing.
Street Fighter was absolutely amazing. Like, to this day, that movie still makes money.
I can't believe that was the last movie that Raul Julia ever made.
And he was phenomenal in it. As the Roller Bison.
I will say this. He was phenomenal.
He was phenomenal. It's like, oh, you killed my father, huh? You may remember that as a tragic day, but that was just another Tuesday to me. It's like, God dang it, Bison. It's so cruel.
Not to mention, you had JCVD with his insane cocaine habit.
And he pulled out a flash cake. See, that's another thing. They fan serviced it.
You know what? I will put Street Fighter in the cheesy but good because they did fan service it. They did Chun-Li's kicks. They did Guile's flash kick
twice. He hit the flash kick on him twice. They even had the Psycho Tornado from Psycho Crusher from Bison, even though it was like he was just gliding across the screen. They even had Honda's. He was doing a hand slap. Ryu threw a fireball. He did a Dukin in there.
All right, I will say this: Street Fighter was cheesy but good.
Yeah, because at least you got fan service in that one. You know, the Mortal Kombat movies. That was good. I say that was a good adaptation.
It had a banging soundtrack.
It did have a banging soundtrack too.
Everybody in the world knows the Mortal Kombat theme now.
Like the original movie 1, I'm not sure about. 2 was that was one of those, hey, we made a lot of money, we should just try to make another one. And
so I'm going to talk about Resident Evil.
Okay.
So the first one, it was like they were trying to stay true to the source material.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of not doing it very well. But it was all right. It was okay. You know, you had Nemesis walking her stars, all that good stuff. But then they just kind of went on this tangent. And they made it their own thing. And it was so cheesy, but so good all at the same time. I've seen all of them. And I don't know why. They're not like cinematic masterpieces or anything.
Because it's one of those, you want to know where you're taking this.
Like, they did okay. Like, the first one, I will put it as a solid, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then afterwards, it just kind of grew into its own thing. So they can come back and be, something worth watching. Do you think Borderlands can come back and be something worth watching?
If you go fan service, yes. If you put
go the Resident Evil route and go the fan service route.
Right. If Borderlands goes and say, all right, we're going to throw a crap ton. If we just go comedy, we go heavy on the comedy, throw the guns in there. Like, bring in, like, if you're going to do a sequel and you saw how bad that first one went down, bring out your big gun. Bring out Handsome Jack.
I mean, really, Handsome Jack is probably one of the greatest villains ever written.
You want to save your franchise. You want to bring in money on this movie. You bring in Handsome Jack.
Yeah.
You just let Handsome Jack go. Just let him just be annoying, condescending, snobbish. psychotic. Just let him.
He feels like he's the hero of the story, and he believes that he is the hero of the story.
Exactly. Like, let him let Handsome Jack just be. Like, just let him be grand. While you
just get him there, let him
just rip, just riff. That's how I think Borderlands can come back. Bring in, like, I know you, like I said, CGI. You like, if you want to do practical effects, fine, do practical effects, but it's at least, let them walk into like a building, open up a refrigerator, and pull out a gun.
Yeah, like, why is this here? Open a toilet. What the heck? There's another gun here.
Yeah, you open up a porta potty and there's like 3 guns just fall out. Like, okay. Like, oh, there's a locker. Just grab some cash out. Do a little bit of that right there.
Even Doom, with as bad as it was, the Doom with the Rock, as bad as it was, still had fan service.
Yep. That first person segment.
You know who else was in it? And one of my favorite actors?
Tara Reid?
No.
Who?
Carl Urban.
Yeah, that's right. But
he was the star opposite of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
But you know who's the biggest star of all of them was? Tara Reid, the scientist.
Why? See, you're just being confrontational for no reason, other than argument's sake.
But Tara Reid was like, it's funny because she goes from being hot chick in the American Pie movies to Van Wilder movies, and then she's like, yeah, I am a scientist with a lot of knowledge. Look at me, I'm in Doom. Like
Take me serious.
Like, same thing with like Denise Richards in the James Bond movie. Like, your name is Christmas Jones and you're a top tier scientist who's studying, was it like geometrics? It's like either geology or something. And it's like, Denise Richards. You want me to believe Denise Richards is an expert in like geology or something like that?
I don't think Tara Reid was in that, dude.
In Doom?
Yeah.
I think she was.
I don't think she was, man. Hold on, I'm bringing it up right now. Wow, Andrew Dice Clay was in it? Nope. Samantha Grimm was Rosamund Pike. My friend.
Rosamund Pike?
Mm-hmm. Not in Doom.
Where were she was a damn scientist in?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I just Mandela affect myself in this movie?
I think you might have, buddy.
I think I really did just Mandela myself.
You know what was a really good, let me try this again. You know, it was a really good book adaptation.
What was that?
Jack Reacher.
See,
not the Tom Cruise one.
The movies, right? Oh, not the movies, the TV show, right?
Yeah, the TV show. Yep. Not the Tom Cruise one. The new one.
What about not a Jack Reacher, Tom Clancy's Jack something. No, it's not Reacher. Was he a Reacher? No. I want to say like Jack Stone, but that's not right.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
I had to think about it there.
Like, what do you think about that Tom Clancy, like that adaptation?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Like, he had his TV show, and he also has like a couple movies. Like, I think, well, yeah, because I think Tom Clancy has his own shared universe. Like everybody talk about the own. Like,
well,
the
Jack Reacher isn't a Tom Clancy book.
No. I just remembering Jack Ryan because you said Jack Reacher. I made me think of Jack Ryan.
Oh,
It
yeah.
also
Okay.
made me think
That's fair.
that Tom Clancy was running his own, shared universe. Well, I want to say shared universe.
They're slapping Tom Clancy's name on anything nowadays.
Hey, that is
The Division.
Dude, I wish I would take charge of that. If I can if I had a movie studio, I would go to Ubisoft and like, look, give me the rights. I would make this a TV show. I think I could pull it off.
Rainbow Six, not Siege. Rainbow Six. Before Siege, it was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Speaking of hard movies, what about the Final Fantasy movie? Did you ever see that one?
Which one? There's been a couple.
The 3D one, The Spirits Within.
So, Spirits Within was kind of its own offshoot thing. It's kind of weird. I mean, visually, for the time, it was amazing. But the story was kind of just out there.
I would say the story is fully Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy storylines they really do just make a left turn and then, drop off the cliff and then make a right turn halfway down and be like, oh yeah, here's our storyline. It's like, how do we get here?
Well, the Spirits Within, like I said, was 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like its own thing.
But it was just so. But I would say people knock it. Like
I'm not knocking it. Like I said, visually, I thought it was amazing in 2001.
Yeah, because it was.
I haven't watched it since because I'm afraid that maybe the animation hasn't aged well.
Tripping the riff, anyone?
Oof! No, that whole show did not age well.
Ooh, that show did not visually or anything else,
or writing wise, or anything.
Like that.
It was just, that was all bad. And yet, for some reason, we thought it was hilarious back then.
But yeah, but I would give it to, like, it was stunning. Because I remember what was it, PS2 at that time? PS2, PS3? No, PS2 at that time.
2001 was PS2.
Yeah. So that should have been around Final Fantasy.
We were just getting into the PS2, I think.
I think Final Fantasy 8, 9 probably dropped around that time.
9 did.
So we already, we was already on the 3D graphics. So,
well, we were already in Final 3D graphics in Final Fantasy 7 back in 98.
Yeah, but look at 9, look at 8 and 9 and how we rolled into 10.
Oh, 10 was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah. I think that movie led
we're not going to talk about 10 too.
I don't think that was made for the West. We just end up getting it.
It was visually, it was really good. Everything else though was kind of garbo.
Yeah, I think that was one of those that was not supposed to make it to the West, but they was like, hey, the kids love it. They love the Final Fantasy. Let's see what else we can wring out of them.
Well, Final Fantasy is different every single game. But there is always a Cid in every Final Fantasy except for the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I gotta look up the cast on this one.
Which one?
My personal favorite fighting game. Dead or Alive. DOA.
Wait, that was a live action movie of that?
Yep. 2006.
That sounds horrible.
It was Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was campy. It was.
All right,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go out on a limb here though, because while Dead or Alive, I didn't even know existed. This one, everybody knew existed, and I feel like it was very divisive because there was some people that liked it, some people that hated it. Me personally, I'm of the camp of liked it. They actually did a pretty good job story-wise. I mean, it was a little all over the place, but they kind of held it together. Like, the writing was definitely a little weaker, but after watching it again, Ghost in the Shell.
Movie with Scarlett Johansson or the animated?
No, the one with Scarlett Johansson.
I have no opinion because I never watched it. I never watched the movie.
Really?
I never did.
I loved it. So people's biggest complaint was Scarlett Johansson being the major, and they're like, she's not Japanese. And I'm like, she's a fucking robot. I don't think it really fucking matters. Because if you watched, any of the early stuff, at one point in time, she was in a child's body. So get bent.
I think it's more of the, I think it's more of the source. They're like, hey, this is a Japanese source, material. They would think, hey, I expect to see somebody Japanese, leading this instead of, blonde hair, blue eyes, Scarlett Johansson.
She didn't even have blonde hair or blue eyes in the movie, so.
Of course, she didn't have it in the movie. But when she's at home with Colin, she's probably blonde hair, blue eye. Well, no, she has like multiple eyes, don't she? She got like multiple color eyes.
I don't know.
I think she has like one of those weird things where like one of her eyes are like a different color than the other. But I mean, like you said, they're good movies. Like movies can be good, like good adaptations, like Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu.
Another great one, Alita Battle Angel.
That was really good. But I want to say the best. I want to say the best adaptation because this one really had like no story, but they made a great story out of it. The Gran Turismo movie.
Yeah, it's a story about a story,
and it stayed true to the source. I mean, racing. Like it's all about the cars and it's all about the racing. Like
it's kind of hard to fuck it up,
right? And a big old.
I mean, you can fuck it up. We've seen it.
And Nissan did a great job of promoting the shit out of their cars. Like, hey, yeah, I know it's about Gran Turismo. I know it's about racing, but everything you see here is Nissan.
I mean, don't you want the ultimate race car for the ultimate race car movie?
Yeah, I didn't see the Lancer out there, so.
That's because the Lancer was the ultimate race car back in the 90s.
I miss my Lancers.
And they weren't doing rally car. They were doing track racing.
Yeah. I guess.
Fucking goober.
I mean, you said you say you want to talk about the ultimate racing machine. I immediately thought of
the GTR.
Of the Evos. No one thinks of Godzilla.
First off, everybody knows the ultimate racing machine is the Miata.
Yes, the answer is always Miata.
Any car fans out there know if you need a platform, the answer is Miata.
But yeah, the Gran Turismo movie was good. Like
it was very good. It had a really good cast. The story, the writing was good. Like I said, it's a story about a story. So, I mean, it's based on real events. It's kind of funny how they did that, but it worked.
It worked really well. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. As an adaptation from
that one, yeah. No, very good. Very good.
From a comic into a movie. That was great. Like, it can be done. It's just... it's just I have to knock it against like these bigger, like when they're trying to make it for everyone. It's like, dude, it's not for everyone.
If you're going to make a video game adaptation, it's going to be really hard to make it for everyone because there's always kind of a niche market. That'd be like trying to make a Metal Gear Solid movie.
Like, yeah, you can make it into a spy movie. Like, yeah, you could make it a spy movie.
You could. It's going to be ultra convoluted.
That story is. You're going to have to really. Can you make it to a
That's
movie?
That's going to be. That would rival show? Dune. Okay, you'd have to make 8 films, and then 3 short films in between.
Ooh,
and then maybe a spinoff TV show somewhere in there to try to get a little more of the story across.
Wouldn't that the TV show, the spinoff TV show, wouldn't that be what's his name? Raven?
Raven? Oh, Raiden from Metal Gear Rising?
Yeah. Would his be the TV show?
Listen, don't even get me started, all right? You don't understand. It's the fucking Lolly Lule Low. It's so convoluted. It's so like there's so much depth to it. It's layers upon layers upon layers. It could be a spy movie, but it would also be a Black Ops movie. It'd also be a military movie. It'd also be, there's so much there. It's tactical military espionage.
So it'd be like so it can be like an espionage movie.
It'd be like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but way more convoluted. Convolution is my favorite word when describing Metal Gear Solid, okay?
Oh. Here's a reverse adaptation. GoldenEye.
Talking about the game?
From going from a movie to a game. That was a great adaptation.
Work of art. 10 out of 10. Masterpiece. Chef's kiss.
That was a great. That was a great.
Slappers only. No Odd Job. If you pick Odd Job, you're a bitch.
Yes. Oh, dude, that was a great adaptation right there. But it can be done. Like we see, it can be. You know who I kind of miss though? Yul Boll. The director, Yul Boll, the man who was responsible for all the other terrible video game adaptations to movies.
And you want him back? Why?
I kind of miss him because he was a good. It was one of those things that you sit there and you're like, oh, they're making this game into a movie. Who's producing it? And you saw Yul Boll, like, oh, this is going to be bad. And then you're like, I got to see how terrible this movie's going to be. And you go and you watch, you're like, oh, that was horrible. Like, I gotta go. I think he would have thrived in this day and age, like with all the social media.
Oh yeah, more than likely. Because he'd have been up there with Elon Musk, just absolutely batshit crazy.
Oh, dude. His best one was Postal. Like that movie was so bad. But then again, I would say that was closer to the source material than anything. Like I think that might have been his best one because that one stayed true to the source material where, dude just snaps and is like, I'm just gonna kill anything and everything because I am pissed off. So I would think, I would say that was the closest to being too close to the source material.
Yeah. Well, on that note, our fucking rant. How would you like to conclude this?
Dear Hollywood, I know you want to make a butt ton of money with these movies and TV shows. If you want to do it, hire me and hire Jay.
I was going to say, hire us. We'll help you.
We know a lot about these materials. We'll help guide you. We're not even asking for like a office on the lot or in the building or in the lot. We'll just be right down the street. Just call us and be like, hey,
Yeah.
here's our
Have
idea.
us as consultants.
We want to do this, and we'll be like, that's not going to work. Don't do that. And then we'll hang up the phone, and you'll listen and say, all right, we're not going to do that. Just listen to the fans. Give fan service. If you're gonna take a source material, do some fan service. You don't have to make 5 seasons of somebody's a prequel to our main character's backstory. I don't need all of that.
Like, it's not hard. We promise it's really not. You're paying the writers more. Get more out of them. Come on.
Like, sometimes you don't even need a backstory for certain material. Just drop them in. Like, hey, our characters are being dropped in this situation. Let's see what happens. And just let them do what they do in the game. Just, hey, here's our goal. Let's go on an adventure to try to solve our problem, and just take the ride with them. Not
everything has to be a tour de force expose on what this character would do in this scenario.
We don't, yeah, we
know what Brick would do if he were in the Borderlands movie. He would punch shit. That's his thing, punching things.
Like, if you get, sometimes you don't need a backstory. Just drop our characters in, like we do in the game, like the games the actual games where we're just like, oh, I'm picking this franchise up for the first time. We don't have a long-winded, backstory exposition about why this character is doing this.
Metal Gear, lots of expose,
but that's
lots.
I mean, you have 15-minute cutscenes between 10 seconds of action.
The one on PlayStation 1 was what, 3 discs or 4 discs? I can't remember. I think it was 3 discs.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, I think the audience are mature enough to be like, hey, you're dropping this character into this situation, let him ride, But same thing with how you did with Deadpool, where you did the whole backstory where you're like, all right, we're constantly moving forward, but here's kind of why we're here. You gave us maybe 10 minutes of backstory, but we're in the midst of everything. We're moving forward the whole time.
Yeah. So. Stay moving forward. I mean, Deadpool did do a little bit of flashback expose, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. I was saying,
we'll be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine on an upcoming episode of Normal Reach for the Clicker.
No, that's gonna be you're gonna love our thoughts on that one. But yeah, I just asked Hollywood, give us fan service. You don't have to go word for word, but stick with the source material.
Listen, it may not be a blockbuster, but we promise it'll make some money.
And it will be loved. And we'll make more money down the line. Because not only, we'll watch it in theaters, we'll probably buy the DVD if you make a physical copy of it. More than likely...
physical media, you can't own that.
More than likely, you'll buy the digital version if it's really, really good. And, buy the digital version and store it on a hard drive somewhere.
You can't store it.
It's just... We fell in love with these characters just meeting them and, meeting them in the wild. I'm pretty sure, mom and pop out there in Nebraska will fall in love with the same characters just, without the half an hour,
I don't know about mom and pop out in Nebraska, but.
Hey, it's 2024. I mean, everybody has a little bit of gaming. I mean, if you do a Candy Crush movie.
Stop. Do not give them ideas.
Hasbro already made, freaking Battleship. There's supposed to be a Candyland movie out there by Hasbro.
I mean, Battleship was one of the greatest naval movies of all time.
Battleship was one of the... you gonna make me punch you through this microphone. Battleship was not one of the greatest naval movies ever. Battleship was one of the worst trash naval movies ever made.
Yeah, that's what I said. It is one of the greatest pieces of naval cinematography ever created. I mean, I think it might even be better than Top Gun.
Shut your whore mouth over there. I dare you talk about the holy movie like that. And you know what? I'm in this podcast because we cannot go any further with him just desecrating the greatest naval movie and recruiting tool there ever been made.
Yeah, Battleship.
Good night, everybody.